This system, if used correctly, will prove immensely beneficial for both your writing and speaking. Today I'd like to talk to you about this amazing system I discovered while reading the book How to Take Smart Notes. The system was actually called the Zettelksten System, and it was created by Nicholas Luhmann. During his 30-year span of his academic career, he wrote 68 books and more than 400 academic papers. So that's basically 2 books and a dozen papers annually. I believe if we can learn 1 or 2 things from him or from this system, it will give our English speaking and writing a massive boost. Now let's talk about different types of notes. At its core, the Zettelksten system actually includes 3 types of notes: fleeting notes, literature notes, and permanent notes. The first one is what the author calls fleeting notes. When you conduct your daily business, whether it's work or study, you will no doubt encounter some ideas that are worth keeping, and it is your job and responsibility to write them down. At this phase, you do not need to care about the quality or clarity of your notes. You only have to write them down. And fleeting notes takes no fixed format. If you are taking a shower, you can actually write it down on the screen. If you are walking, you can record it in your voice memo apps on your cell phones. If you are waiting in line, you can actually jot it down on a piece of napkin. And it's amazing what these simple fleeting notes can eventually become. It will become something much larger than you expected. For example, the other day I was watching one of Ali Abdaal's videos, and he talks about the need for content creators to outsource video editings. And he even mentions how he spent £1,000, approximately $1,300 for one single video. So that got me thinking, what if I can replicate Ali's editing style, since I already found them so aesthetically pleasing and immensely powerful? That way, I get to develop my own video editing skill set, and that would give me something really solid to work with. So, what started out as a simple fleeting note eventually turns into my 100 technique motion challenge. I delved deep into this software, Apple Motion, and now I have recreated 27 templates. And if you check out my recent videos, you would notice that there has been a significant leveling up in my video editing skills. Compared with my earlier ones, they are still up on the channel if you want to take a look. Another type of notes is what the author calls literature notes. So, as knowledge workers, you are constantly engaging with external materials: video, audio, textbooks, newspaper, magazine, classes, or even billboard. When you come across these valuable ideas, you also need to write them down. But here the key difference is you cannot be copying the original wording of the concept, but instead you need to paraphrasing using your own language. That way, these literature notes serve as a built-in checker to see if you really understand the original concept. I have read another book called Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. And in this book, Tiago Forte quoted David Allen, the productivity guru. And David Allen famously said that your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. And this quote really stuck with me. I realized that what our human brain does best actually is not memorizing. It actually is think, reflect, analyze, and make comparisons. I recreated this entire idea of building a second brain inside my Notion system, and now I have a fully operational Notion system, or somebody might say life operating system, that basically runs every aspect of my life, be it video production, procedural tasks, knowledge, books, or even reminders. The last type of notes actually are permanent notes. This is where the magic happens, and they are the most important types of notes. For example, every day, ideally at the end of each day, you need to select and turn some of your fleeting notes and literature notes into permanent notes. But the crucial thing here you need to realize is these permanent notes actually are not repetition of your fleeting notes and literature notes, but instead, if you have created more than 2 permanent notes, you need to think about the relationship between them. That way, your permanent notes will compound into a lattice of knowledge network, so they become readily available when you want to draw upon them. And when converting these notes into permanent notes, there are 2 criteria you can use to check for yourselves. First, does this note give me the same emotion and feelings for the second time as it did for the first time? And second, can this note actually help me solve a real-world problem? Or help me move my life into my desired path, even if in a little bit. If the answer to both questions are yes, then you can convert them to permanent notes. Otherwise, do not do so. And the reason why I found Zettelksten System works is because of the following 3 reasons. First, this system is good for retention, unlike any other note-taking systems. When using Zettelksten System, you're going to have to constantly revisit your notes. You need to think, analyze, make comparison, and make connections. So these notes stay active in your brain and they become available when you want to draw upon them. Instead of some, random notes you created and forgotten in some digital corner. The second reason is this system actually employs a bottom-up approach instead of a top-down approach. What I mean is next time when someone asks you to write a passage or speak about a certain topic, you would have something concrete, some concrete knowledge snippets to work with, instead of something, abstract or a blank sheet of paper for you to write on. And the last point I want to mention is this system actually adopts a 2-layer filters. By 2-layer filters, I mean during the initial stage, when you convert ideas into your fleeting notes or you paraphrase ideas into your literature notes, you have already selected once. When converting these notes into your permanent notes, you have selected twice. That way, what remains actually is pure gold. But do not put too much pressure on yourselves. Even if you got it wrong, it doesn't matter. As long as you keep practicing, you will get better. Okay, so these are what I found valuable about this system, and I want to introduce it to you. Actually, this Zettelksten system works perfectly with the way we can practice our spoken English with large language models, which happened to be my last video. So if you are interested, please take a look. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.